and we're here with Adam Ross of Adam Out There and NASCAR and TSN and a bunch of other things. Tell us about yourself for some of our listeners that are new to the game here.
I wear a lot of hats, that's for sure. For someone who doesn't like wearing hats at all, I wear a lot of hats. Yeah, I do some car racing announcing. I sell trucks for a living. I'm a mental health advocate. I try to keep myself pretty busy.
Yeah, the Adam Out There stuff. I've been watching some of that in the last couple of weeks because it's available online, and I do know you've only started that a couple months ago, and I've been really taking a lot from that, and I do appreciate that you're putting some sort of conversation out there for people for mental health.
I think that's really important. We don't have all the answers,
Right.
but the more conversations we can create, the better.
Yeah, exactly. There's you've had a couple of different guests on within the last couple of episodes, and there's some really good stuff that they talk about that kind of it almost hits in the heart. I feel for some of the people there, but I also relate a lot too, especially with anxiety.
I think you're right. I mean, last Thursday, we did a whole, well, it was supposed to be an hour. It wound up being more than that on suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And if you saw that topic, you would think, well, this is going to be morbid or this is going to be dark. And it was anything but.
Right.
I think for people who had the chance to watch and hear stories from people who were directly affected by it, but it was more trying to normalize talking about things that people don't like to talk about, and
Right.
they really need to.
Yeah, and especially in these hard times, there is some mentions about a lot of the stuff that's been going on with COVID and mental health and ways to deal with things. And I like specifically trying to avoid social media posts about certain things. And I honestly, I'm guilty for that, and I relate a lot to it. And I've actually taken the advice, and I'm trying to stay away from that political and the pandemic talk.
I think it's fine to consume it. I
Hmm.
think it's fine to see it. You just have to realize that the same way people sometimes have to realize that we do things for the greater good of society.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that's what's best for us. So you have to conform when you believe you should conform, but you also have to adjust your own routine and adjust your own expectations on a moment by moment basis, because these are times that nobody was prepared for, nobody's ever seen before, and we're getting through it. I mean, I'm really proud right now to be a Canadian. The
Hmm.
way I feel people around us have accommodated and been respectful, and we'll see. Things are starting to open back up again, but boy, the need for mental health conversation has never been more
Right.
important than
Oh,
it is right now.
absolutely. And there are obviously a lot of changes. I know your recent guest was speaking about how she's had to change her contact with her counselor, and there is a lot of things that are tough to kind of like change is tough sometimes. It's tough to get used to it.
We've had to revamp our toolkits,
Right.
right? The things that we turn to, for example, being at a racetrack. That's therapy for people like you and
Mm-hmm.
me. That's what we do. I mean, you want to put this into perspective? The last time I spent a May long weekend without going to a racetrack was the 1980s.
Wow.
And I feel really old saying that, but it's just been a part of my life for so long that it's what we do. This time of year, you go track to track, weekend to weekend. It is a busy schedule.
Yeah, and usually I'm seeing you there right now. Like maybe qualifying would be wrapping up or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's definitely that's another thing I feel kind of bad about because I do miss it, but I also respect the social guidelines and I do respect the process. But I do feel a little selfish, almost saying like I really want to go back to the racetrack ASAP. But I don't want
Yeah.
to push any buttons too.
No, we've got to look out for the greater good, and I don't think it's quite time yet to go back.
Right.
It will be, it will be, but I mean it's hard because for some people it's a hobby, for some people it's a passion, for some people it's their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Uh, and they're really, really lost without it. And that's when the mental health side kind of kicks in. I woke up today with anxiety worse than I've had in quite some time, and I couldn't place it. I couldn't understand why I was feeling it, where it was coming from. Um, so I just had to regroup for an hour or two. I still feel a little on edge, mostly just uncertainty because I'm not sure why I felt off today, but it's something I got to be conscious of and figure out how to approach it.
Yeah, there's been some news recently about, I know the sports car race isn't going to be, the IMSA race isn't going to be doing the Canadian round this year. The Jukasa and the CTMP race are for sure, I believe, either postponed or canceled. So there's a lot of a lot of crappy news the last few days, and with I think
Yeah.
the Honda Indy also yesterday. Um, Obviously, I respect that those decisions; those are for the better. But um, for for some of the people out there, though, it could be a big hit for them as well. I think about the smaller teams and how they might be feeling.
Well, yeah, it makes me wonder. I'm concerned with people like the Dumoulin's
Hmm.
who run their race team as a business, and it's a family business. You look at Dave Jacobs, who runs a great race team, and he has for quite a while. Um, he has a job. He doesn't feed his family by going to the races and fielding race cars like the Dumoulin's do, like maybe Scott Steckley or DJ Kennington. So you have to be concerned with things like that. Uh, at the same time, that the greater good applies, and everyone just got to try to pull together and get through this.
Yeah, we're this racing thing. We're all family almost. This is a racing family. Especially, I feel like uh, the local stuff, going to the media center at Motorsport or whatever. There's a lot of people there that obviously care about each other, and in these times, it's good to reach out.
Yeah, it's important to reach out, message people, text people, phone
Right.
people, just check in. Just hearing a familiar voice feels good. Um, I've had a lot of fun with iRacing. It's allowed me
Mm-hmm. Me too.
to reach out and talk to people. And really interestingly, I'm going to drop names: DJ Kennington, John Fletcher, a couple of people I don't talk with very much over the years. They're very intense on race days,
Mm-hmm.
and I respect that. You sort of give them their space, and we
Right.
all
Yeah.
exist in the same air. But it's been so much fun to go iRacing. It's been relaxing and getting to chat with those guys and be friendly because we're not under the stress of being at the racetrack.
Right. Yeah. Even with this weekend, there's the tomorrow on the day that we're recording this. It'll be tomorrow. Maybe it'll air the same day, but with the virtual race at CTMP for the Pinty guys that are going to be at 7:30 tomorrow, I believe.
Tomorrow night, the race. So tomorrow night at 7:30 on TSN
Okay.
uh, is the race from the NASCAR Pinty Series iRacing Invitational. Tomorrow at 9 p.m. on GeForce TV, we will be live with the Canadian Sim Racing Series, which will have 43 cars take the green flag.
Okay. What was the? Because tomorrow is there going to be a public qualifier race at 11?
That's right. Have you signed up for it?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's the one I'm going to have to shoot for.
Yep, yep. So,
Nice. Do you know what car it's going to be?
so Xfinity cars is what we're going to be racing at CTMP. They're a real handful to drive. How much time have you spent?
Is that the Legacy Xfinity car?
No.
Okay, so I probably haven't even bought that car yet. I'm guessing. So none.
It will be a good investment. It's going to be a challenging race. Uh, it's going to be a lot of fun because we start 43 cars in the main event. It is going to be a crowded racetrack. It should be a great show.
Yeah, and for a lot of people that were already ready for racing this weekend, that might turn them on to iRacing. And a lot of people recently have been turned on to iRacing. What do you think about the big boom of iRacing the last couple of months?
It's a great thing for the sport
Hmm.
because the motorsports has been having a problem for a long time now, connecting to the new demographic,
Right.
right? Connecting to young people, being relatable to young people. I think sim racing might be just the thing to draw new people in, make racing appeal to them. I just think it's a great opportunity if we look at it that way.
Right. I know you got a young one on racing, on the iRacing there.
Yeah, Connor does a good job. My son
It's
Connor,
pretty cool.
he's won some dirt races recently. Doesn't spend a whole lot of time on asphalt, which is good because I just don't want him to be better than me on asphalt. I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah, that might be a tough day. You never know. It always happens when the son can beat the father. It happens one day, usually.
It does. It does. And no, I'm really proud of him. We had a broadcast last night, our Weekend Speedway Friday night program, and he won a portion of it. So I was proud of him. I'm always proud of him. I was happy for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. With young people getting into iRacing, I've seen a lot of more people my age get into it. I'm not sure about people in their teens, but for them to get a wheel and a pedal that's pretty cool.
Well,
It's an
it is.
investment
It's
too.
well, it is. It is. But there's only so many things, so many activities that you can simulate on a computer.
Right.
There's flight simulators that real pilots spend a lot of time on flight simulators
I love that
because
one.
they do a great job of simulating the real thing. Same with car racing. The simulation is very close. The one thing you don't get um, with iRacing is the thrill, the adrenaline of going such tremendous speeds in
Right.
closed circuits, the danger factor, the scare factor. But everything else, the frustration is very real, the challenge is real, the level of competition is real.
Yeah, I believe it was Andretti that said the racing or the cars are simulated or the track is simulated, but the racing is real,
Exactly.
which goes a long way because I've spoke yesterday to Stephen Ellis of Can Race. He's actually going to be in the IndyCar race this Monday. He's taken it very seriously. He said he spent about 50 hours this week trying to practice for the qualifying. I've spent about 50 hours in the last month. I don't know about you, how much you spend on it, but I do know you're involved with it a lot with the Rivals Racing League.
Yeah, now that I've gotten into promoting some of these races, I spend less time on the simulator and a lot more time answering emails and messages and trying to keep things organized and
Hmm.
which is fun. It's a different challenge. It's out of my wheelhouse. Being an announcer is the laziest job at the racetrack.
Right.
I don't have to be up as early as some of the people. I don't have to stay as late as some of the people. Now, you do a lot of research. I mean, I have a lifetime of experience to draw from. So you have to, there is a lot of work that goes in and a lot of
Absolutely.
memory work and knowing what's going on. But promoting races is very demanding all the time, before the race, during the race, after the race. In the sport of racing, tomorrow 43 drivers will start that race. Only one of them is going to win.
Yeah.
That's 42 drivers that aren't going to be as happy as they wanted to be.
Do you think you'll see any of the real life stuff spill over into iRacing, or even maybe once we get back to things, maybe something's going to go down tomorrow? Maybe Tags will close the door on Kevin Lacroix, maybe get him back or something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's very strange. I've raced in leagues where you seem drawn to certain competitors.
Hmm.
If something goes wrong, like, oh my goodness, him again? Uh, so yeah, there's people that are more likable on iRacing. That transfers to real life, absolutely. You think Alex LeBay and Kevin Lacroix are good buddies? I don't know that they're not, but I know that there was a time they were definitely not.
Right.
So, no, I think that does spill over. At the same time, again, that scare factor. If you give someone a bump and run in turn 8 Canadian Tire Motorsport Park at those speeds,
Yeah.
they're going to be pretty mad for a long time. You're going to get their attention. You're never going to have that happen on iRacing.
Yeah, and like again, I'm really excited to be able to be a part of that, and to be hopefully, because I like to learn from a lot of those drivers, and I like to learn from even the people that are organizing it, like you, just to see what takes all the stuff that it takes to make an event possible.
There's so many moving parts that it is challenging and it's fun, but it can be frustrating at times.
Yeah, the stuff that's going to happen in the next couple of days for iRacing is going to be big, but obviously, with some of the stuff that you're involved with, what are you going to be doing? You're going to be commentating them live, or are you going to be racing?
I'm going to be racing. So
Okay.
actually tomorrow morning, the public qualifier, I don't have to run that because I'm a registered driver. So I'll try to qualify later in the day. I'm going to announce the public qualifier at 11 in the morning on GeForce TV. Tomorrow evening on TSN at 7:30. We already did that voiceover a few days ago. But I mean, how exciting is it that this isn't a broadcast that I was just hired to voice?
Right.
I organized the race. I put it together. I feel like I have a lot more ownership of the product, and to have it on TSN is
That's cool.
really, really rewarding. Um, so I'm looking forward to sitting back and watching that as a race fan, and just being proud of the work that our team did to help put that together.
Yeah, it is really cool, and thank you for doing that. And for so that's what you're doing now. That you're not usually, like, maybe you're actually chatting with someone in the media center right about now, whoever got the poll, just shooting the breeze maybe. But now that's what you're doing now. What do you think's going to happen in a couple of months? With obviously it's all speculation really, but with NASCAR returning tomorrow, the Cup Series down in the States, that is. Do you think that obviously with the border being closed, a lot of stuff's out of question, but what do you think will happen with the Pinty series?
Well, they've already put out an announcement. It looks like the West Coast trip is canceled
Right.
this year. So that'll be the first time since 2005 I haven't gone out west to announce races. It's crazy how time passes you by. So that's canceled. Grand Prix of Trois Rivières is
Yeah,
canceled.
that's always a good race.
Indy is, yes, yes. Indy is canceled. One Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, one Jukasa is canceled. So it's the season is getting pretty slim.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to I don't like to guess what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I guess in my mind I'm working on the assumption that we might not go racing this year. But I think I'm doing that to kind of set myself up to not be heartbroken if it happens.
Yeah, sometimes being a little bit too hopeful, you might set some. It's good to set goals, realistic goals, and I think, yeah, I think that's a lot of the consensus that the people I've spoke with. I spoke with Colleen Evans and Stephen Ellis in the last couple of days, and that's kind of what the idea is almost at the same time. Just take what we got, what we're going to be given too potentially. There might be a lot of stuff going on. There might be a lot of full race calendars in September and October.
Well, there might be, and if you look at the way the weather's been the last number of years, there's no reason why we couldn't go racing right into November.
Mm-hmm.
But um, the idea is to put butts in the seats. That's what
Yeah.
pays these promoters money. So your money making months in Canada when it comes to racing are July and August. Then
Okay.
you've got some special events, and it doesn't matter whether you're talking about road racing or oval racing or dirt racing. Autumn colors up at Peterborough Thanksgiving weekend. Um, CTMP, whether it's Labor Day weekend or the weekend before the last few years, there's certain weekends that people have that's a go-to event.
Right.
There's only so many weekends to go around.
Yeah. And
So what do
it's
you do?
it's it's so tough to call, especially that obviously there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and people having some sort of discussion is important. And I know that now that there's a lot of people starting up their podcasts again. I was speaking with Stephen Ellis of Can Race. They're doing something special this weekend. I know of a couple others that are as well. For people that are in the next couple of months for content, it with obviously iRacing, it's helped in the last 2 months. But going from here on out with Cup Series coming back this weekend, I hope a lot of media can have something to do.
I think the Cup racing coming back this weekend is going to be just absolutely huge
Yeah.
for the sport. The traditionalists are going to wonder what the hell's going on because it's going to look strange. It's going to feel strange. But I think there's going to be a ton of eyeballs on the product. I'm confident. I'm hopeful it's going to be some good entertainment, some good racing. We just have to be prepared that not everything is going to be the same as it has been.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of different protocols in effect for this weekend, and maybe it could be a little bit of a guideline of what we could possibly see up here. But driver and crew meetings will be held outside in open air locations. Preferably, drivers should pre-sign autographs or whatever. And
Well,
with
who would you sign autographs for?
yeah, that's that's
Right?
true. Yeah,
It's so much is going to be different. But I commend NASCAR and I commend the people at Darlington Speedway for trying to make this happen, giving
absolutely.
people something that they really need.
Do you think this will be like the 1979 Daytona 500, where it might, maybe there's be a lot of people at home tomorrow, and it might turn them on just to NASCAR that maybe they've never seen it, or maybe they've seen a race or two before.
I think it's absolutely going to open a new possibility. So picture us. What if tomorrow, and I've used this analogy in other programs, what if tomorrow there was going to be a cricket match at 3 o'clock? Um, but it was a big deal. It was going to be two of the best teams in the world squaring off. I've never watched cricket in my life. I'm familiar with it. I'm familiar with what they do.
But I'd check
I
it
would
out.
tune in.
Yeah,
I would watch because it's live. It's live competition, and we haven't had that in 2 months.
I know in Germany, I believe the soccer league there, they earlier this morning they had one of their first games, and I'm not sure about the ratings about it, but I know on social media it was pretty big. At the least, social media will be happy about it.
I called a racing friend in New York a little bit earlier today. I had to chat about a couple of iRacing things. I said, hey, what are you doing? He says, I'm watching baseball from Korea.
Nice.
It's not the major leagues, but it'll do for now.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be hopefully a little bit more coming into the next little bit. But I think NASCAR, it's no argument, it's a sport, and I think that is a big step. I think of like, WWE and wrestling, they haven't really technically stopped, but I do think of a more bigger and organized sport, and NASCAR should at least put some things on the map.
And that's a good point too. Are you a wrestling fan?
Yeah.
So am I. WrestleMania was fairly horrible.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Undertaker and
That was cool. It was different.
what's it, AJ Styles. Right, it was different, but I thought, okay, this I can live with this match. I liked being able to hear what they were saying to each other.
Right. Yeah, that's cool too.
Some of the in-ring matches, and like that, there's just nothing here for me. I've got to feel it. I've got to own it, and I couldn't do that without a crowd.
Yeah, it's the crowd definitely. A lot of athletes have said it. It will potentially change how they play the game. I think it was Steph Curry or someone in the NBA. They said that with no audience, there's going to be a lot of nasty things potentially said between the players if that does return. Like,
That could be, but there's still conduct
yeah,
codes, so they still have to keep it within reason. Basketball's another good example. Some of the alley-oops, some of the dunks these guys do without 15,000 fans to entertain, are they still going to do it, or is everyone going to just be shooting layups?
right. And I think of almost like how last year with Raptor Mania, and just to think, would they have had that momentum to take them into the finals without Jurassic Park, without the whole country?
It was a movement. It was a
Right.
movement. So we're in a time that and I do pity some people that are really struggling, uh, having maybe lost a job or been laid off or had their lifestyle
Right.
rocked. Um, we've been really fortunate in our household. I'm able to keep on working. Um, my wife got laid off almost right away. So it's been an adjustment for her, but by and large the household is still going. My family gets along pretty well, so we sit around. Yeah, we bicker like anyone else does, but we'll sit
Yeah.
around and enjoy each other's company. But not all families are like that. Not all families do coexist as peacefully as others.
Right. And going back to the mental health thing, obviously, with stuff that is going to start going back into business again, and I like the pace it's going at. I'm not going to argue that. I know that's a whole political thing, but maybe people will end up starting to be able to get out of the house, and maybe people will start seeing things a little differently.
Well, I can tell you this. I live in Cambridge and I work in Burlington. And for 6 weeks, I mean, I could have been reading a book on my way to work while I drive. Like there's just nothing on the road,
Right.
very little traffic. The last week or so, you see it picking up, picking up, picking up. More cars on the road. I mean, there were times where all you saw were commercial trucks. That was all that was on the road for a
Right.
while because people were being responsible and staying home where they could. I've got a letter that I was provided from my employer that you leave in the car with you at all times. So if you get pulled over, it says
Just in
I'm allowed to
case.
be out. I'm serving a function at work.
Right.
Um, but we're starting to see things come back.
And
I
Ford announced motorsports race car and motorcycle car events can be started back up potentially, or at least tracks that can start up back again this
Yes.
week.
One thing that I was really bummed out about this week, again, I work in Burlington. I was a little stressed out. I thought, you know what? I'm going to grab lunch. I'm going to go down to the lake. I like being near water. It's relaxing.
Yes, yes, I
Eat,
agree.
yeah, eat my lunch and carry on. All of the parking lots are closed. So I understand the parks being closed so people can't congregate. I didn't realize all the parking areas along the water were also blockaded. And I thought, this really sucks.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
to find some sort of peace.
that's right. That's right. So I just carried on. You make the best with what you've got, but it has been a challenging time.
I think tomorrow's gonna feel really good. It's gonna, me and my brother, we make race day food, and just to have wake up to the smell of buffalo cheese chicken, I think that will make me feel good. The weather was nice today. Hopefully, it'll be nicer tomorrow. But just those little things, like they've made me feel a little less anxious. They've made me feel like a little bit more optimistic about things. Just these little things, like just today was a great day in our area. I'm in the city next to you in Cambridge. I'm in Kitchener,
Yep.
so. But yeah, it was a great day, and hopefully with tomorrow, Darlington, just us even right now talking about NASCAR, it feels good. What do you think?
Exactly. Exactly. It just feels right. It's that time of year. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe we should carry on part of this conversation tomorrow while the race is going on, even just
Yeah,
to get some live reaction to how that's going. But no, I think it's going to be good.
what do you got for predictions? I know you're a Cup fan, you're a NASCAR fan, so what do you think's gonna go on tomorrow?
You want me to predict who's going to win?
That or even what's going to happen. These guys stepping back into a race car. I think Junior said something about how that's going to be very intense to see these guys, especially like think about Kenseth, who he this is
Yeah.
potentially his first laps back in a stock car, and who knows how long.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And again, these guys, so Denny Hamlin's been on a tear winning iRaces.
Right.
He was also doing pretty well before the season shut down. So, I mean, does he continue that momentum? I look for a KG veteran like Jimmy Johnson to maybe have some sort of advantage in
Hopefully.
that yeah, exactly. He's got so many years of experience to draw from that maybe he gets in there and finds his comfort zone. I really expect I
Someone.
want to say this without being insulting. I expect to be underwhelmed by what I see, but really, really glad to have seen it. because
Yeah.
a race going on with no fans, and like I think the things that I'm used to, the packed infields and the packed grandstands, the things that really make you excited to take part in an event, you have to forget that they're not there and just focus on the cars on the
Yeah.
track and the skill of the drivers and the fact that we're one step closer to being back with that full package.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. At least I speaking on my end, it's gonna feel really good. Like it's been a crappy. I think I speaking personally. The last couple months haven't been the greatest, and to even to even hope that I can cheer for Jimmy Johnson or Ryan Blaney. They're starting side by side, I believe. That's awesome. Like I'm gonna be we have something to root for now. I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat. I feel like I'm just gonna like be right into it more than usual.
I do too. I think so. Normally, when I watch a race anymore, I've got my phone in my hand or I've got my laptop open
Right.
doing
Same.
things. I'm gonna have my eyes on the TV.
Yeah, and maybe I'll pull up the driver scanner too and listen to whoever.
Yeah, I want to be engulfed in that event tomorrow.
Yeah, and to for me though, I think Kyle Busch will. I'm not a Kyle Busch fan, but I think he's going to show some strength tomorrow.
He is always a safe bet.
Right. Which I'm not bandwagon jumper by any means, but and I'm not a Kyle Busch fan, but I'm gonna actually probably pick him. I never would. I use my bias a lot for my fantasy picks, but I'm gonna have to probably do that soon. I don't know if you do the fantasy stuff, but that'll be fun to keep track of tomorrow during the race.
Yeah, yeah. I don't do a lot of it. I don't do a lot of it to tell you the truth. But yeah, I think a lot of different industries are going to kick back off, and it'll be fun to watch the social media kick off to that. I mean, it's just going to be uh, to think about what's going to be trending on Twitter tomorrow, how everything is going to come
Yeah,
together and racing is going to come to the forefront.
yeah, absolutely. And for going on to the next week, I mean, we got a midweek race. I mean, for years NASCAR has been talking about doing that, and then maybe we're gonna see some new things. There's a silver lining, basically. What I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, and there always is. There always is. It might be the future of racing, what we can expect moving forward. We just don't know. We just
Right.
don't know.
And it also speaks personally. And I've been taking a lot of stuff from Adam out there in the last couple weeks, and I'm not just shamelessly plugging it. I'm serious. I've wanted to get to one and physically, but I know every Thursday you have some sort of mental health discussion, and it's really for me it's really helped.
I'm so glad. And that's what I've been doing it for. And I'm really humbled by the kind words that I've received from people, and it's definitely out of my wheelhouse. For someone who talks a lot, it is much different to talk in that kind of
Right.
intimate setting and put yourself out there and share share my issues with the world and talk about things that
Like the
people
cop
don't
pulling you
always talk
over.
about.
Yeah.
Yes, that turned my week around. That turned into a great thing. So no, I
Right.
appreciate you watching, and
And
I
that's
hope
on
people do.
Facebook.
Yeah, it's Adam out there on Facebook. The Mindwell sessions are every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and
What
we do
about
our best to bring mental health to light.
the other stuff? I know. So you also got the Rivals recently. When is that? Where can they find? Where can listeners find that?
So GeForceTV.net. We've got leagues running right now that run on Sunday nights, Monday nights. Wednesday we're on hiatus for the time being because we picked up Friday nights dirt racing. So GeForceTV.net. That takes up some time. Just so many
It was a
projects on
great
the go.
broadcast today.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, from CTMP, that was a good one today for sure. Pat Gonzalez and Todd Lewis on the race call
It was
there.
nice
So
to hear old voices again.
yeah, we've been really fortunate to get people that most who go to the races will be familiar with, and that's important to us.
And of course, your the races you call and whatnot, they're on sometimes there'll be a race on at a random time on TSN, so I guess people can just generally look out for that to hear from you.
There's so many people that I'm trying to remember. It happened in the last week. They said Adam Ross. No, no, not sure I know him. And then I start to talk in the conference. Oh, you're the announcer. You say a couple of things. It's, yeah, we know that voice.
The
But it's
announcing
better.
voice.
It's better that way. I'm better heard in that scene.
Right. Maybe it pays off. The cop maybe treated you. Did he let you off because you were? No.
Well, they did not because of who I was, but he let us off because we were in a confusing situation and
No one knew it. No one
treated
knew
him
the
with a lot of
truth.
respect.
No one knew
Yeah,
the right thing that was to do
that's
with your
right.
situation. So it was like, well, you know what? Get going. And then another guy came by. That was
Yeah,
another
exactly.
trucker.
Someone he needed to pull over came by. It's like, yeah, we'll see you later.
Thank you, Adam, for giving me your time today out of your weekend. And hopefully people can head on over to Adam out there if they're feeling a little down.
Yes, if you're feeling down, don't suffer alone. That's the one thing you absolutely don't have to do in this world, is suffer by yourself, especially when it comes to mental health. Facebook.com, Adam Out There. On Instagram, Adam Out There. Come and find us. Post a comment, post a private message. I'm just happy to hear from people. Always willing to listen and share my journey.
I always look forward to it. Thanks again, Adam.
Thanks so much.
Hey there, thank you for watching our video. Make sure you head on over to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram at the WWOMS.